Welcome, welcome. We are live. That's right. We are just about ready to start the event. And we're live. That's right. I am so excited to be here with you. And let's see if I can make this fit better. Being short has its advantages and disadvantages. Sometimes aprons don't fit. Let's see if I can make this a little bit smaller. I'm so excited because very soon it's going to be Passover, which is one of my most favorite holidays. I love matzah and I love all the foods that we eat on Passover. And I'm going to take the damn thing off. All right. There we go. I love Passover. And let's see. I am going to look at my calendar because I want to be exact when I tell you when Passover is. And I know it's coming very, very soon. Oops. Passover. It is. And I have, that's right, the first night is April 14th. That's what we're talking about. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm not going to show that. Okay. I'm delighted that you're here. And I'm going to also also post a comment. If you want to join my community, go to my Facebook group. It's a private group, and you just have to request entry, and I will let you in. It's called, I'm just typing this, Ellen's Healthy Kitchen. And all you have to do is just do a search on Facebook. Okay, you can also find me on Instagram and on YouTube, all that good stuff. Okay, so where shall we start? Let's start, first of all, by tell me who's here. If you're watching, I'd love to know who is here. And I'm going to go here on Instagram. I have all the fields. Everything's going. Okay. And I'm going to go here. Yep, here we are. Okay, and I'm going to turn this down so that I don't get any echoing. All right. So I have everything all ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. It's important, when you're cooking or baking, you want to have what's called mise en place, which is where you actually, that's a French term, where you have all your ingredients ready at your disposal so you don't have to go hunting for them, because there's nothing worse than being in the middle of making something and you realize that you don't have one ingredient that's important that you can't replace with something else. So I have everything all ready to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you excuse me, the ingredients. I think I better take some water. I'm going to read you the ingredients. So if you want to make it, you might not be doing it now, but at least if you write the ingredients down, or you can actually send me a message here in the comments, or you can private message me either on Facebook or any of the platforms, and I'll send you the recipe. Okay, so we're going to get started. I think what I'm going to do, hold on. I seem to have like a scratch, a little scratchy throat. So I'm going to just take a cough drop. All right, so I'm going to start by taking this flax meal. Now, this is flax meal that I ground from flax seeds, which I keep in my freezer because flax seeds, I keep all my nuts in, except for the ones that I know I eat quickly, like I have pistachios here. We finish that in a week. But all of my nuts primarily live in the freezer because that way I know that they're not going to get rancid. So I have my flax. I need, the flax sort of serves as an egg, serves as a binder. Okay. So I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of flax, and I want to show you what I'm doing. I'm actually going to turn this down a little so you can see. I'm going to take my knife, the flat edge, and scrape it off because I want to have an exact tablespoon. So I'm going to put that in here. And then I'm going to get 3 tablespoons of water. I have a jar right here. I think I'm actually going to just dip it in here. It'll be a little bit easier. So we have 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to give that a mix. If you're watching on Instagram, welcome, welcome, welcome. And now look, this is very liquidy. I'm going to come back up here and show you. This is very liquidy. We'll say. But if I let it sit for about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, it's going to start to get kind of gelatinous. And this will not be so liquidy. Okay, that's what happens to flax meal. That's why it's a great binder, because it actually becomes gelatinous and it kind of helps things to stick together. So I'm going to just set this aside over there. Can't believe I'm sucking my cough up during this, but oh well. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the recipe. I have it right here. And I'm one of these people who reads the recipe and reads it again because I don't want to make a mistake. Okay. And what I want to ask you is, if you're watching, if you could give me a comment and let me know that you can hear me. That would be cool if you could do that. Just throw a comment in. My friend Nan is here, and she says, I'm about to begin my afternoon of coaching sessions and saw that you were alive, just saying hi. Hi, Nan. Nan is one of my dear friends who lives in California, and she's a superb coach. Please go and follow her on all the socials. She's got a great YouTube channel, and you do want to follow her because she really will teach you her secrets to aging powerfully. That's what she does, and she's an expert at it. Okay. So the next thing, I'm reading my directions, right? And I have them right here on my iPad, sitting right next to me. So you should know that this makes 2 roundish, and I say roundish because it's sort of free-form roundish, gluten-free matzahs. Now, I want to go sort of take a step back while we're letting the flax meal get gelatinous. And I want to tell you the origin of this matzah. So I'm gluten-free. I have celiac, so I have to be gluten-free. And back, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, gluten-free matzah wasn't as available as it is today. Now you can find it on all supermarket shelves, but it's not always, it's okay. I'm not going to knock it because it's so great to have it, but it's better when you make it yourself. And if you're either going to a seder or you're making your own seder, you can make this a day or 2 before, and it'll be perfect. And we'll talk a little bit about how you can store it. Okay. So anyway, I am studying, I was studying then with a rabbi, and I asked him to give it his stamp of approval. And he did. He said that it has the right grains in it. And if I make it according to halakha, which is Jewish law, then it's really, really kosher for Passover, which is what we're going to do today. And I'm going to explain why. Now, before I go on, I'm going to preheat my oven to 450. I want it to be nice and hot. So I'm going to step out of the screen for a second. Okay. And I'm going to start. I just got my oven going. All right. So where are we? If you have questions, let me know. Let's see if this has gotten a little more gelatinous. It actually has. You see that? If you were watching from the beginning, see how it's not as liquidy anymore? We're going to let it keep going. We're going to let it sit and kind of meld all the grain, the flax meal with the water. Let it keep going. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to whisk the remaining dry ingredients together in a small bowl. So I have my bowl right here. I wonder, give me a second. I'm trying to think about how I can do this so maybe you can see it. Wait a second. I'm kind of new at this. And what happened to, it's right here. Oh my goodness, it's right here. Okay. I'm going to try something. I'm going to move I wonder if this will work, and then you can see, you'll be able to see it. Now, how would I do that? I would have to log in. I'm going to think about that. I'm not really sure how I would do it. I'm thinking about how I could get my phone so that you can see what I'm doing. I wonder, let me just try something, because that would be so great if you could see it. Stream. All right. Okay, I'm going to log in. I should have thought of this before, so if you're watching, thank you. Okay, I have to have her send me. Let me just send her a message, because that would be so cool if we can do this. Well, let me see. Rachel. I logged in through my laptop, but I want to log in through my phone as well and use that to show viewers what I'm cooking. I hope this is available. You should have gotten a code. All right, that would be so amazing if this worked. Let's wait and see. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to start putting the ingredients together. Okay. What happened to, it's a lot to do this. I'm like juggling 3 million things. Okay, no, I know what I need to do. Right here. Okay. Who has any questions? Let me know. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put the potato starch. Here's my potato starch. I started using these green painter's tape. I just put it on with a black Sharpie. I write what it is, and I like the way it looks, and it's also nice and big, and I can spot it easily in the drawer or in the cabinet. Okay, so I need 3 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons. And again, remember how I showed you how I used my knife to make sure that I got it exactly right? I'm going to make sure to do that. You don't want more ingredients than the recipe calls for. So I'm going to start with, so I need the tablespoon again. And I only have 1 tablespoon measure, so I need to clean this off. It was sitting in the bowl with the flax meal, which is really, really getting gelatinous now. Okay, so now this is nice and dry, and I'm going to show you what I do. I'm going to actually put this down so you can see. I'm going to dip it in here. Now, don't let me mix this up. I want to make sure I do this correctly. I need 3 tablespoons to start with. Okay, so we have 1 and 2. Like that. And then 3. Okay. And then I need 2 teaspoons. So I'm going to do this. Oh, that's 1. And here's 2. Okay, so now that's my potato starch. Next thing I need, if you're writing this down, that was 3 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons of potato starch. And make sure, this is really important, make sure you don't use potato flour. They're different. You want potato starch. Okay, the next thing I want is almond meal. So I have this Trader Joe's almond meal. And I should have enough. If I don't, I have another bag of it. So again, we're going to, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little easier to get in this bag. I'm going to cut this off because I can then put it in as a flat bag. It'll be much, much easier. Okay, so I have my almond flour. And again, here comes my important knife. I'm going to, whoops, I really, really want to make sure I get a full tablespoon. Maybe what I'll do is press it down, because this is a little bit different in texture than the potato starch. That was one. And now here comes 2. And here comes 3. And remember now I need 2 teaspoons. So I'm going to do 2. Here's 1. And here's 2. This gives it a nice texture. All right, so far we have potato starch and almond meal. I'll put that on the side. The next thing I need is ground oatmeal, or oats, I should say, not oatmeal, ground oats. So here we have oat flour. Now, you can buy oat flour, but I make my own. Yes, I do. You can take oats, rolled oats, and you can grind them in your food processor or in your high-powered blender, and it makes oats. It makes oat flour. I use oat flour a lot. Oatmeal is such a good grain. If you are somebody who cares about heart health, then you want to make sure to get oats into your body every single day. Okay, I am going to do, let's see. She has not written back yet, so we're just going to throw it away. Okay, so now I have my oats, and I'm going to put this down again. Hope you're not getting dizzy. Okay, so we're going to do 3. The nice thing about this recipe is it's easy to remember. It's the same for each of the 3 dry ingredients. Okay, that was 1. Here's 2. And here's 3. And then I need 2 teaspoons. And do you know how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? Does anybody know? If you said 3, you are right. Okay. So now I'm going to put that to the side. And then I need about 1/8 of a teaspoon to 1/4, and I'm going to use 1/4 of salt. All right. So then what I do is I take this mixture, which you can see right here, and I'm going to whisk it together so that all 3 ingredients, the potato starch, the almond flour, or the almond meal, and the oat flour all get mixed together. All right. Now, I think I mentioned to you that this only makes 2, but you can easily double this, triple this even. You know, it depends on how many people are having matzah at your seder or at your table. So we have that. So that gets whisked together. Now I'm going to read you the instructions so you can see. I want to make sure that you know, if you are making traditional matzah and you want to do it the traditional way, from the time the grains get wet until they come out of the oven, it has to be 18 minutes. So I'm going to take my phone. Oh, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually set my timer on my stove. But I'm not going to start it until I'm ready, because it has to be exactly 18 minutes from the time they get wet. So as soon as I put the water in, that's when I'll hit the timer. And then I have to really, really work at rolling it out and making the matzah. So, okay, so where are we? Let's see. Next step, I'm going to take the water And I'm going to, this is the water with the flax in it. Now take a look at it. You're going to see, I'm going to use this spoon to show you. Look how gelatinous that has gotten. That's been sitting for about 10 minutes. Isn't that cool? All right, so here's what I'm going to do. This is a timing thing, right? I'm going to pour this flax meal mixture into the 3 different dry ingredients, the potato starch, the almond meal, and the the oat flour. I'm going to pour it in, and the minute actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to start the timer and then pour it in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the dough carefully. What I'm going to do is mix it. I'm reading to you from the ingredients, working carefully with the dough, divide it into 2 equal pieces, and I'm going to place 1 piece on a piece of wax paper. And then I'm going to cover it with another piece of wax paper, and I'm going to start rolling it out and rolling it out and rolling it out until it gets to the thinness or thickness that I want. And you don't want it too thin because then you can't peel it off the wax paper. You don't want it too thick because you don't want it to be bread-like. You want it to be thin and cracker-like. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and remove it from the wax paper, and I'm going to put it on this tray that I have prepared right here with a Silpat mat. And it's going to go into the oven. But the other thing too is I want to make sure the oven has come to temperature. So it has to be 450 degrees. It's almost there. So probably by the time I am ready, it's going to take another, minute or 2, maybe 3 to really help this come together. I think that the oven will be up to the right temperature. So by the way, if you want this recipe, please send me a comment either here. If you don't want to share your email here, you can just send me a private message on any of the platforms. You can also message me at ellenshealthykitchen.com and let me know, and I'll send you a copy of the recipe so you have it. Okay, let me stop and take a little drink. Okay, and while we're waiting, because I want to make sure now it's up to 4:23. I'll take a little bit of a break and I'll show you what else I have, my little science experiments. I have, these are going great guns. These are radish sprouts. And they're almost done. I think by tomorrow they're going to be done. And they smell great. And then I have also mung beans. This is actually, these are mung beans. I have another mixture that is power seeds and beans, and I love that the best. So look at how great those look. I just keep them right by my sink, and I have them going every single day. So once they're done, then I start another batch, and it takes me about maybe 3 days to finish eating those. And by the time I've finished eating them, I have another batch that's been soaking and waiting over by the window and growing like magic, and they'll be done. So I've started incorporating lots of different kinds of sprouts, which I love, into my diet. They're so full of nutrition and good antioxidants and phytonutrients, and they really are good for your belly, good for your gut. Okay, let's see. It's 4:45. Okay, so I think we're ready. I'm going to push. So this is the exciting part. All right. I think what I'm going to do is, once I do this, let me dry this off. Yeah, see, it's up to the right temperature. And I want to move some of this stuff so that I can really have a clear space I think I'm going to move a few things because I really, really want to make sure that I have enough room, sort of an apron, if you will. Okay, good. Okay, now I think we're cooking. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to push this and get it started. So let's see, I want the timer off, and now I want timer 18 and start. Okay, now I can't waste a second. I'm going to take this, I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to pour this into here. Okay, so now the wet has touched the grains. This is where timing is of the essence. Okay. And then I'm going to use a spoon to mix it up. And if they're too dry, I can add a little bit more water. If they're too wet, I can add a little bit more of either the potato starch or the almond meal or the oatmeal. And what my recipe instructions say is, don't give up the ship. It's going to look like it's not going to work, but you just have to keep going. You have to just keep kneading it like this until the dough actually comes together without falling apart. And depending on your kitchen temperature, the climate that you live in, that could all affect it, right? So, like right now, it just doesn't look like it's really going to work. I have to say, and this happens every single time I make this. I'm thinking, this is no way is this going to work, but it does. And I just keep doing this with a spoon. And you want to basically keep doing it until it becomes sort of like Play-Doh. That's what I say in the recipe. And in a second, I'm going to actually get in there with my hands and do it. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's starting to come together. It's starting to get a little more Play-Doh-ish. But I think what I'm going to do is, now I have made the matza in this kitchen, so it's worked. I know it's worked. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing this with it. And you see, you want it to basically come together. You see how it's coming together? Now, I feel, my gut tells me that this is, let me just see. I feel like this needs a little tiny bit more water, but I want to be ever so careful because I don't want to put more in than you need. That would be disastrous, right? So I think I will literally just put in a drop, just a drop. And do it very carefully. Okay, I don't know if you saw that, but I really just put in a drop. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to push this to the side for a second. You can see how some of it's coming together. It's like kind of like Play-Doh. Okay. I'm going to put it over here. And I'm going to take one piece of wax paper, put it like that, and I'm going to put my mixture on here. Okay. Put this to the side. And I'm going to knead it some more. And every time I squeeze it, it seems to come together. I just want the whole thing to come together, not just pieces of it, but it's starting to. And remember, I said, don't give up the ship. If it looks like it's not working, you just keep at it and don't give up. See how it's starting to really become like Play-Doh? There's still some on the paper, though. I don't want to lose any of it. So go like that, add it. Okay, I'm going to take this and try to add it to it. You see how I'm resisting the urge to add more water? Because if we add too much water, this will not work. I can tell you that. Okay, all right, so we're almost there. And okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of start pressing it a little bit. And I use one hand, the heel of my hand, to press, and the other hand to kind of shape around the edges to try to keep it from falling apart. And you can actually turn the wax paper even. You see what I did there? I turned the wax paper. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another piece of wax paper, and I'm going to put it on top of it. Like that. And then I'm going to take my rolling pin and roll it. It's interesting. It's much drier than I remember it being. But again, I can even use my fingers through the wax paper to kind of pull it together. Okay. Now, when it goes in the oven, it only needs, let me read the ingredients, 10 to 14 minutes. So now if it ended up being more than 18 minutes, it's not like a sin. The Matza police aren't going to come in and take me away. It's just kind of fun to try to do that. But if it doesn't, that's okay. All right. I'm just going to keep gently rolling it out. Gently rolling it out, back and forth. And I'm going to get in here. Maybe pull that back a little bit. Okay. Just really get the, and I might decide at some point, I might say, you know what, I'm not happy with the texture here. I think I might start again, and I might put it back in the bowl and add some more water. But I'm not at that place yet. I'm not giving up so easily. Okay. So it's a little thinner over here on this side, but thicker on this side. So I'm going to put this back here and very gently give it a roll. Very gently give it a roll. Okay. And there's just something about doing this that feels very organic and earthy, and I love doing it. I love making stuff from scratch. Okay. Now, it is not making me happy, I can tell you. See how it's just, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back up here, and I don't think that this is wet enough. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bowl. I'm going to get my bowl that had the flax meal in it and just put it over here on the side. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of water, just a little bit. And I'm going to roll it back into a ball. And, it happens. What are you going to do? Let's see. I'm going to push this down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Get this here. I think that when you're a cook or a baker, you have to be prepared for when things don't work. You have to know your ingredients, and you have to know the instructions, and you have to know that sometimes different things can affect it. Like I said, the temperature in your kitchen. It's cold. It's a cold day here. It's damp, but in the house, you have the heat on, and it's just cold. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to actually add, you can see, a little bit of water. I don't want to add a lot. I just want to add a little. Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay. Let's see if I can use this as kind of a magnet to pick up the pieces. Okay. Okay, that feels better. Let's see what happens when I put it down. Put it down. Okay. Now, I am going to put my piece of wax paper back. I'm going to start again and see what we can come up with. So I'm rolling it back and forth, kind of gently pressing. Gently pressing. And I'm going to turn this in just, 45 degrees. Okay. And then I'm going to do it again, turn it. That, so it feels a little bit better. I'm going to turn it again. You know what? I just realized that I didn't do, and now I remember. I'm supposed to actually, let me just look at it again. Yeah. Okay. Ellen, don't, do as I say, not as I do. I am going to take my knife and I'm going to cut this in half. And I'm going to take half of it and I'm just going to put it aside. Just put it out of the way for now. I'm going to go right there. Right, because this is supposed to make 2. Okay, so I'm going to move this over. And I tore my, I think what I'm going to do is take this. Okay, and I'm going to take this, put it over here. Right, you're seeing real life, my friends. Okay, and then I'm going to get another piece of wax paper. And this is good for you to see how I problem solve this. Okay, all right, now I'm very gently doing the rolling pin. Very gently. Okay, a little bit here, a little bit there. And then I'm going to do that 45-degree thing. I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to go in here and kind of press this back together. Now, this might seem fussy, but I'll tell you what, when it's done, and it's so delicious, and people clamor for this when I make it and I bring it to seders. Okay. I'm going to turn it again, and I'm just going to keep turning it 45 degrees. That. And you can feel with your hand whether it's the right thickness. Like I can tell it's just not thick enough yet. I mean, not thick, thin enough yet. I want it to be thin, like cracker thin. Okay. And go like that. It's getting there. It's almost, I would say it's pretty close. Okay, now I'm going to take this off and I'm going to put this aside, and I'm just going to kind of use my fingers to kind of squish this a little bit together. There we go. And it, it's like I said, it's very rustic looking, right? Because it's not completely round, which is fine. Okay, that's my piece of matzah. And I think that worked. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fork. You know how matzah has holes in it? I'm going to take a fork. And there's actually a tool you can get. I forget what it's called. Okay, now here's the tricky part. Okay, I'm going to take my tray and sort of gently pull this on here. Now, you don't want to put the wax paper in the oven, right? You know that. So I have a couple of options. I can try to peel it off the wax paper, or the other trick I can do is I can turn this upside down and peel it off. But let me just see what happens if I go like this. Take a breath and perfect. And I'm going to go like this. And there we go. Okay, so there's one. That's done. Maybe you might need a little bit of repairing here and there, but that's okay. I don't mind doing that. Okay, now I am going to take a wet towel, and because it's pretty dry and I don't want it to get super dry. So I'm going to take this, just put it over it, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to put it aside, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to dry my hands, and I'm going to do the second piece. Now, clearly, I'm not going to be done within the 18 minutes, but that's probably because I'm talking and teaching. I think when I've done this on my own, I always am able to stay within the within the 18 minutes. Okay, so now I'm actually going to take this, and because it might have just gotten, I should have covered it with a towel while it was sitting, because it's drying out, as we speak. Okay. So I have this, that here. See, it's very dry. So I think I'm going to take a tiny, tiny little bit of water and see if that makes a difference. Again, here I go. All right. Yeah, there's nothing like having homemade matzah, I can tell you that. It is really the bomb diggity. When you go to a seder and you can have gluten-free matzah that somebody made for you, you feel like you're royalty because they took the time to do that. Okay, this is good. I am going to put this down here and press it with my hand. And I'm going to get another piece of wallpaper. I'm going to get another piece of wax paper, and I'm going to start the rolling process. All right. A little back and forth, just to kind of get it going. Back and forth, and sort of move this. All right, now I'm going to start turning it, right? Just a quarter turn. And there you go. Okay. Quarter turn. Again. Quarter turn. Quarter turn. Keep doing it. Still a little thicker than I want it to be. Okay. I don't know if you're listening, I can tell you that I give private lessons, cooking lessons for people who are struggling with gluten-free, or they're struggling with wanting to add more plants. They still want to eat some, meat, chicken, fish, whatever, but they want to try to incorporate more plants. It helps to have somebody who can guide you, can be sort of a mentor. And so if you're interested in that, please let me know. I'm taking private clients. Okay, there's the I am gonna fix this a little, just a little. I like rustic, but I wouldn't mind if it held together a little bit better. Again, I don't know. I think my kitchen is very, it must be very dry, because I've made this a million times and it's never given me problems. Okay. I usually double the recipe and make double the amount. Okay. All right, I think that's good. I'm going to get my fork. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to do it on the, see, I think it could be a little bit thinner, I'm going to tell you. Okay. All right, so here I go. I'm going to turn it upside down and have it be on the palm of my hand and gently lift that. And then I'm going to go here and get my tray. Put that down. I'm not going to waste any of this. Okay, there's a little bit of dough here. I'll just stick it right there. Okay, and do a little bit of finger repair. Okay. All right, now, this is where the fork, you want to be gentle with it. You don't want to disturb it and have it break if you can help it. Okay, so here we go. This is it. And now I'm going to take it. Here we go. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to put it into the oven. I'm going to get rid of some of these little crumbs so that they don't burn. Okay, you don't have to brush it with anything. Just going to put it right in the oven. And it says bake for 10 to 14 minutes or until browned and crisp around the edges. And the matzah is slightly golden. Every oven is different, so watch carefully to make sure they don't burn. This is a labor of love, admittedly. Okay. So I'm going to put timer 10. I'm going to give it 10 minutes and then see what happens with the 10 minutes. Okay. So who has a question? Does anybody have a question about doing this? And does this seem like it's too much trouble and too fussy? It might be fussy for some people. I personally don't think it is because, like I said, I've been, before I started making this and before gluten-free matzah was something that you could buy, I went to plenty of seders where I didn't have matzah. And it was, you want to have matzah. You want to have what everybody else is having. You want to be able to make your Hillel sandwiches, which is a sandwich you make at the seder where you layer the matzah with charoset and horseradish and it's delicious. And so you want to have that. You don't want to be left out, right? Let me see if there's any more. Okay. So it really is lovely for you as either as the host, and even if you don't need it, if you can spend, if the day before or 2 days before, you can make this for your guests who need to be gluten-free. And if you can get your kids into the act, even better, and teach them how to do it. It's a little labor intensive. You saw that I had to add the amount of water I added literally was like I dipped my fingers in the water and just like sprinkled a tiny little bit, but that made the difference. And these will be so delicious. They really are crackers, and you can make them any time of the year, but technically I make them as gluten-free matzah because I want to have matzah in my seder. And the very first time I made it, I brought it to a seder and literally everybody was clamoring for it. And I made, a lot of it. It took some time, but it was worth it because people loved it and they wanted to taste it and they wanted to have this unusual, different, rustic kind of matzah. So it's worth taking the time to do it for either for you if you're gluten-free or you have a child who's gluten-free or a spouse or a partner or a family member, or you are inviting people and you have guests who are coming in are gluten-free. It is definitely a labor of love. And honestly, it took a lot longer for me to do it because I was showing it to you than it does in real life. It does not take as much time. I can tell you that for sure. So if you're just coming on, please let me know if you want the recipe. I'm happy to send it to you. You can send me an email at ellen@ellenshealthykitchen.com, or you can find me on social media and send me a private message, and I'm happy to send you the recipe. And it's got all the details. Everything I did just now with all my little tips and techniques is included in the recipe. So if you are interested, please let me know, and I would be happy to share it with you. And I am starting to think about what the rest of my Passover food is going to be like, because I am, those of you who follow me know that I am not only gluten-free, but I'm vegan and whole food, plant-based, no oil. So I pose a challenge for, excuse me, for people who invite me for dinner. And yes, I do get invited. So I'm going to bring a couple things to the seder that I'm going to. I'm going to bring a few things. I'm going to bring my own matzah. I'm going to bring my own matzah balls and my own vegan soup that will be like chicken soup, but without chicken. And it's vegan chickpea soup, but the broth is absolutely delicious. And I'm going to bring a fruit salad. And I'm also going to bring some kind of a main. And I haven't decided yet what it is. It might be something with like a kugel, maybe a spinach kugel. And I will use the same flax eggs that I used to make this matzah. I will use for my kugel. It works really well. I might make what else could I make? Certainly a salad. I might make a friend of mine, a colleague of mine who's here on all the socials, Rachel Detroit. She made a beautiful Mediterranean salad the other day. I think it was yesterday. And it was basically carrots and cucumbers and fresh lemon and lots of herbs, parsley and cilantro and mint. And it looked so good that I thought, I think I'm going to make that for my seder. So I think that would not only be good for me, but for, I want to make enough for the people who are at this. We're bringing sort of like a potluck at a friend's house. So we're doing that. Now I'm going to just look and see. I'm not going to open the oven. It's been in for 5 minutes. And I can already tell I have the light on that it's starting to get brown. So I think that it's probably going to be about 10 minutes, I think. And I can't wait. I'm going to have it tonight because I'm not going to wait for it until Passover. But I will make more for Passover. So, my goal in coming to you here on the socials is to help people find ways to feel good about being, her thing is up there. I just realized that. Feel good about, okay, hold on a second. Feel good about making a decision to stand up for your health. That to me is really important. What you do, the food that you put on the end of your fork, right? On the end of this fork is going to impact your health. And the more you can eat foods that are whole, not packaged, not processed, the more you can do that, the more you're going to be supporting your own health. So I encourage you to do that and follow me. There's a lot of other people on the socials that you can follow who are really committed to this movement it's called whole food plant-based. And in my case, I don't use oil, and it has completely changed my life. Most people say to me, what? You don't use oil? What? Are you nuts? Are you crazy? That's crazy. No, I don't use oil. And I don't plan on using oil ever, because following this way of life, which it's been now 5 years for me, has helped me lose the last 10 stubborn pounds that I've been carrying around for 35 years since I had babies who are not babies anymore. And it's helped me to find a way to eat that took the decision fatigue away, and I get to make delicious food, and I get to eat volumes of it, and I'm little, but I eat lots of food. I eat lots of vegetables. That's a big part of what I do. Lots of vegetables and grains and legumes, lots of fruit. I almost always start my day with vegetables. This morning I started with zucchini. I just steamed up a zucchini in the microwave while I was getting my oatmeal ready, and I ate my oatmeal, I made almond joy oatmeal, and I had that with my zucchini. And it might sound like a crazy combination, but it's okay. It was delicious. And I got my greens in, and I had more greens for lunch because I had a soup, a red lentil soup, and I put greens on top of it. And for dinner tonight, I will be having more greens, and I think I'm going to make pizza. I might even put greens on my pizza. How cool would that be? So anyway, that's that. And we're coming to the end of this live. I'm not going to do it for much more, but I do want to be able to show you the result. And you can tell when something is starting to be completed in the baking or cooking cycle when you can smell it. And I can smell it. It's got 2 minutes, and I actually opened it. Oh, I did open the oven. It looks so good. Wait till you see it. It's incredible. This is the exciting part. It was a little touch and go there, right? But I knew that I had to add a little water so it wouldn't fall apart. And just the teensiest bit of water made the difference in being able to maneuver and manipulate that dough. See, that is my oven telling me that the timer has a minute to go. So it's been 9 minutes. It's got 1 more minute. I might decide to leave it in for an extra couple of minutes. It's turning brown, but I like it when it's really, really crisp. That's the way I like to eat it. So now I am going to start doing these lives on a regular basis. So if you have a request of something that you'd like me to make, or a certain category of food that you'd like to me to make, whether it's main dishes or salads or breads or desserts or, vegetables or sauces, whatever it might be, let me know, because I'd be happy to accommodate you. I'm looking for different subjects, for different things that I can make to share with people and to help them on this amazing journey of eating delicious food. That's my goal. I love food. I love eating. I'm a nut for food. And all right, now let's see. I'm going to see what it looks like. I'm not convinced that they're done, but I'm going to turn the timer off and I'm going to open the oven. And I will show you that these are 90% done. I want them to be a tiny bit more. So I'm literally, because this is a new oven, I'm going to put the timer on for 1 minute. That's it. In 1 minute, and they'll be done, I'm pretty sure. And, you can add things to this depending on what part of the world you like to draw your cuisine from. But you can add, if you're from the Mediterranean and you follow a Sephardic way of having Passover, you might want to add seeds to your, like sesame seeds. But you can also have it just the way it is, which is delicious. And I'm so glad that you're not here looking at the mess that I made in my kitchen. As soon as I finish this, I'm going to clean it up and then make dinner. I think we are probably going to either have a huge salad with maybe chickpeas in it and a whole bunch of other yummy plant-based things, or I might make pizza. I'm not sure yet. The jury's out. So let me know. Also, if you want this recipe, make sure to send me a message. You can eat. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Here, I'm going to shut the timer off. And yeah, these are now done. Okay. So it took 11 minutes in my oven. Okay. And I'm going to put this over here. And I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to take it with a spatula and show you what they look like. Now I'm going to get a cooling rack, which will let me take them off the oven and just let them cool so they don't continue to cook. All right, so here's my cooling rack. And here is my spatula. Okay. These came out great. Look at that. I'm going to actually, I will put the laptop down the screen so you can see them. And even where they had little cracks, they still sort of held together. All right, so I'll put this down so you can see it. See how lovely they came out? They're perfect. They're crackery. I have all I can do to not eat one right now. But that's gluten-free matzah. How beautiful is that? Yay! Right? So that's exciting. I knew that they'd come out good because I've made it a bunch. I don't remember ever needing to add a little bit more water, but I trusted my gut and knew that a little bit of water would have made a difference. And when I say a little bit, I'm talking about a drop, like literally a drop. And that made all the difference. So in any case, I'm delighted and I'm so glad that you were here. Make sure to follow me because I'm going to be doing lots of these lives and teaching you how to eat healthy. And I'm going to be teaching you how to batch prep. That's really my expertise, is batch prepping, so that you make things that you'll have lots of and you can eat over the course of a week. So for example, I'm very busy this morning and it's time for me now to, it's now cooled off. I've had 3 bowls of this already today. I'm going to actually show it to you. You see that? It is red lentil soup with a garam masala, which is an Indian spice, and curry. And I wonder if you could smell that. Oh, so delicious. And I made it with these red lentils. Those are red lentils. And when they cook, they sort of fall apart. They're almost like buttery. So that, my friends, is the end of today's live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful for the privilege of your time. And whatever I can do to help you follow a more healthful diet, a more healthful lifestyle. That's my goal. So come on back. I'll see you the next time I do one of these lives. Okay, bye.